The wild flame was the most feared dragon in the galaxy. Its black scales shone like burning coal, and its eyes glowed like molten gold. It was bigger than any spaceship hangar and stronger than any engine on Arcturus Prime. Generations of trainers had tried to tame it, but none had succeeded. Some were thrown across the arena. Some were burned by its fire. Many had run away never to return. The dragon refused to obey anyone. It roared at kings, growled at warriors, and laughed with its eyes at the so-called greatest trainers of the galaxy. No chain could hold it, no whip could scare it, and no command could make it bend. People said it was untamable. In the floating city where the dragon lived, the trainers prepared every day to try again. They were tall, strong aliens with many arms and sharp claws. They shouted at the dragon. They swung their staffs. They commanded it to sit, to bow, to fly. The dragon only shook its massive wings and laughed with a roar that shook the city towers. The trainers were skilled, but they used fear and power. That was why they all failed. In the same city, a small human boy named Kieran worked quietly. He was a stable boy, nothing more. He was small and thin, with short brown hair and eyes that watched everything. He swept the dragon's stables, cleaned its food bowls, and refilled the water troughs. The alien trainers often laughed at him. "What can a human boy do with a wild flame?" they said. "He is too weak. He will be burned if he touches it." But Kieran did not care. He liked the dragon. He watched it every day. He saw its power, yes, but he also saw its loneliness. No one spoke to it kindly. No one cared for it without fear. Kieran wanted to be different. He approached the dragon carefully. The dragon lifted its head and stared at him. Its eyes were gold and sharp like knives. The trainer said it would never allow a human near. But Kieran just nodded. He placed a bucket of water on the floor and whispered softly, "Good evening, wild flame." The dragon sniffed at the water, then snorted smoke. It was a small reaction, but Kieran smiled. He swept the floor, humming a tune from home. The dragon watched him. It did not roar. It did not attack. For the first time in years, someone moved near it without fear. The trainers noticed. "Why is that boy not afraid?" one whispered. "He will be burned soon." They laughed and went back to their drills. But Kieran kept working. Every day he fed the dragon, cleaned its stable, and talked softly. He never tried to touch it, never tried to ride it, never shouted. He just asked nothing from it. One day the dragon broke its chain again. It roared and smashed the arena walls with its tail. The alien trainers ran to capture it. They swung their staffs and shouted commands. The dragon laughed at them and flew around, destroying everything in its path. People screamed. Ships were damaged. Cranes fell. The city's leaders worried. This dragon had broken free many times, but today it seemed angrier than ever. Kieran stood at the edge of the arena. He could see the dragon's eyes glowing with fury. He could hear its fire roar. He could feel its power shaking the ground beneath his feet. Most humans would have run. Most aliens would have attacked. But Kieran took a deep breath. He stepped forward. His hands were empty. His heart was calm. He said nothing loud, nothing threatening. He whispered, "Please. Calm down." The dragon froze. Its massive wings stopped mid-flap. Its golden eyes focused on the small human. It tilted its head, curious. No one had ever spoken to it like that. No one had ever asked. Every trainer had tried force. Every king had tried power. But this small human had only asked. The dragon sniffed the air. Smoke curled from its nostrils. It lowered its head slightly, watching the boy carefully. Kieran took a step closer. "It is okay," he said softly. "I am not your enemy. I just want to help." The dragon blinked. Its eyes narrowed, then softened. The roar in its chest quieted. It sniffed Kieran's hand. The boy reached out slowly, never touching too fast. He felt the heat of the scales, but it was not fire that burned. It was life, powerful and raw. From the crowd, people whispered in disbelief. No one had ever seen the dragon behave like this. The alien trainers froze, unsure what to do. The dragon had never obeyed anyone, never trusted anyone, never stopped its rage. But now it paused. It looked at a human boy, not a warrior, not a king, not a master, but a simple, kind boy who asked politely. Kieran smiled. He did not shout. He did not demand. He only spoke softly, only offered peace. And the wild flame, untamable for decades, took the first step toward trust. It lowered its head closer to him, letting him see the full power of its scales and wings, the sharp teeth and the golden eyes. It could have struck. It could have roared. But it did not. It waited. It watched. The city held its breath. A small human boy was standing near the galaxy's most feared dragon, untouched, unharmed, and unafraid. Something had changed. The dragon's fury had not disappeared, but its mind had noticed something new. Perhaps force was not the answer. Perhaps kindness was. Perhaps, for the first time, someone could understand the wild flame. And that was how the untamable dragon met the boy who did not try to control it, did not try to fight it, but only asked with a simple word, "Please." Kieran could hardly believe his own courage. The wild flame, the untamable dragon, was calm now, but only just. Its massive wings twitched, its tail swept the arena floor like a moving wall, and its golden eyes never left him. Every step he took felt heavy, yet he moved slowly, carefully, letting the dragon see that he meant no harm. The alien trainers were still frozen at the edge of the arena. Their jaws were open, their claws gripping their staffs. He can't do it," one whispered. "It's impossible." But Kieran ignored them. He focused only on the dragon. He reached out one hand, palm open, and spoke softly, "I'm not your enemy. I only want to help you." The dragon tilted its head, a low rumble vibrating from deep inside its chest. Kieran felt it in his bones. He did not flinch. The dragon sniffed his hand and then, with a small movement that seemed impossible for such a massive creature, it lowered its head closer. Its hot breath washed over Kieran's face, but he held still. His heart raced, but he whispered again, "It's okay. I am your friend." The dragon's tail stopped thrashing for a moment. Its wings twitched less. It listened. Days passed, and Kieran came to the arena every morning. He brought clean water, fresh food, and a calm voice. He did not try to ride the dragon or force it to obey. He did not shout or strike. He only talked softly, "Good morning, wild flame," and waited. At first the dragon ignored him. It yawned, shook its wings, and even let out small bursts of fire just to remind everyone it was still dangerous. But Kieran stayed. He cleaned the stable, brushed the scales he could reach, and never asked for anything in return. Slowly the dragon began to notice him. Its golden eyes followed him everywhere. It watched him climb ladders to reach its higher scales. It sniffed the water buckets he carried. Sometimes it even lowered its head, letting him brush a patch of black scales near its neck. The alien trainers were stunned. "It can't be true," one said. "The wild flame, it allows him to touch it?" Kieran just smiled quietly. He did not boast. He only cared about the dragon. One afternoon the arena's main doors opened, and a group of children from the city came to watch. They were scared at first, trembling as the dragon roared softly, its tail sweeping near the benches. But the dragon did not attack. It only watched Kieran, who waved at the children and said, "It's okay. The dragon won't hurt you." Slowly the dragon lowered its massive head. One small girl stepped forward and reached out her hand. The dragon sniffed her, then lifted its head. It did not roar. Kieran laughed quietly, relieved. The dragon was learning trust. Not from fear, not from force, but from patience and kindness. The alien trainers did not understand. They tried to speak to the dragon, shout at it, command it, even threaten it. But the dragon ignored them. It only moved when Kieran moved. When Kieran asked gently, it came closer. When Kieran spoke softly, it listened. This small human boy, weak and thin by the trainer's standards, had accomplished what decades of warriors could not. Kieran felt proud, but he did not let it show too much. He knew trust was fragile. One evening, Kieran sat near the dragon's resting place, brushing its scales with a soft cloth. The dragon lowered its enormous head and rested it gently on the ground beside him. Kieran spoke softly, "I know no one has ever treated you kindly. I know they all tried to control you. But you don't have to be afraid of me. I will always help you." The dragon rumbled, a deep, vibrating sound that shook the floor. It was not fire. It was contentment. As the days turned into weeks, the bond grew stronger. The dragon began to follow Kieran outside the arena, walking calmly alongside him. People stopped to stare. Children waved. Merchants whispered in the streets. A human boy, small and quiet, had earned the trust of the galaxy's most feared dragon. It was something no one thought possible. One morning, the dragon rolled over playfully, letting Kieran climb onto its massive back. His heart leapt with excitement. He did not shout or demand. He just held on carefully and whispered, "Thank you for trusting me." The dragon rumbled again, a sound that was almost laughter. It seemed to enjoy the boy, the first human who had ever treated it as more than a weapon or a challenge. The alien trainers, watching from the arena, were speechless. They realized that power alone could not command respect. Strength alone could not earn loyalty. Only patience, understanding, and kindness could reach the heart of the wild flame. The dragon had been untamable for decades, but now it was learning something new, something humans had always known. Trust could not be forced. Trust could only be earned. Kieran did not know how far their bond would go. He only knew he would keep helping, keep speaking softly, keep showing care. The dragon had learned that someone could be gentle without fear, someone could ask politely and mean it. And the people of the city, who once thought the dragon was a monster beyond control, began to see it differently. They began to hope that even the wildest power in the galaxy could be guided, not by force but by a small human boy with a big heart. And in the quiet of the evening, as Kieran rested beside the dragon, brushing its warm black scales and whispering gentle words, he realized something wonderful. For the first time in the dragon's life, it had a friend who asked nothing but kindness in return. Days passed and Kieran's bond with the wild flame grew stronger. The dragon no longer snarled at him or flared its wings when he approached. It followed him calmly through the arena, sniffing at the ground where he stepped, letting him brush its black scales. The alien trainers still watched from the sidelines, unable to believe what they saw. They had spent years shouting, hitting, and threatening the dragon, but this small human boy, soft-spoken and patient, had earned its attention and respect. Kieran began to learn the dragon's habits. He noticed when it was restless, when it wanted to stretch its wings, when it needed water, and when it simply wanted to rest. The dragon had moods like any living creature and Kieran respected them. One morning he arrived to find the wild flame pacing, its golden eyes restless and its claws digging into the arena floor. The alien trainers shouted commands but the dragon ignored them. Kieran stepped forward quietly. "It's okay," he said softly. "Do you want to fly today?" The dragon froze, tilted its head and let out a low rumble. Kieran smiled and brought out a small harness, something he had designed himself. It was simple, with soft straps that would not hurt the dragon. He approached slowly, speaking gently. "I just want to ride with you," he whispered. The dragon sniffed the harness and then lowered its massive head, letting Kieran attach it carefully. No force. No threats. Just trust. When he was done, he climbed onto the dragon's back cautiously. The dragon shifted under him, testing his balance, but it did not throw him off. Kieran held on tightly and whispered, "We will go slowly." With a soft rumble, the dragon leaped into the air, soaring over the arena. The crowd gasped as the untamable wild flame flew with a human boy on its back. Its wings beat powerfully, creating gusts of wind that swept through the city, but Kieran remained calm. He did not shout, he did not pull. He simply stayed balanced, letting the dragon guide the flight. The alien trainers were in shock. They had spent decades trying to ride the dragon themselves, but it had always thrown them off. Now, a human boy, small and light, was controlling nothing, yet the dragon obeyed him willingly. It banked and turned, spiraled high into the clouds and swooped low over the arena. Kieran held on, his heart pounding with excitement and fear, but he never panicked. He whispered encouragement, "That's it, slow and steady, we are together." The dragon's rumble responded, almost like laughter. After the flight, the dragon landed gently, letting Kieran slide off its back. The boy looked at it and smiled. "You are amazing," he said softly. The dragon rumbled again, nudging him lightly with its snout. It did not roar, it did not attack. It trusted him. And Kieran realized something incredible. The dragon had never been untamable. No one had understood it. It had been wild because no one had ever cared enough to listen. Word of Kieran's achievement spread quickly. Citizens of the floating city came to watch him work with the dragon. Children clung to the railings, staring in awe. Merchants whispered in the streets, "The boy, he rides the wild flame." Even the alien trainers could not deny it. They had tried every trick, every threat, every command and failed. And now, a human boy had succeeded with patience and kindness alone. One afternoon, Kieran and the dragon were in the arena when a massive storm swept over the city. Winds howled and lightning struck nearby towers. The alien trainers panicked, trying to secure their own equipment and flee. But Kieran stayed calm. He climbed onto the dragon's back and whispered, "We can do this together." The dragon lowered its wings slightly, letting him hold on as it leaped into the sky. Together they flew through the storm, dodging lightning and gusts of wind. The dragon's strength was unmatched, but Kieran's calm voice guided it, keeping them steady. When the storm passed, the city watched in amazement. The untamable wild flame had flown through the storm safely, carrying only a small human boy. Kieran slid off the dragon's back and patted its neck gently. "We did it," he whispered. The dragon rumbled, nudging him affectionately. From that day on, Kieran became more than a stable boy. He was the dragon's companion, its friend, and its guide. He learned to communicate with it using small gestures and soft words. The dragon responded to him alone. Other humans and aliens could approach, but it would not listen to anyone but Kieran. It had chosen him. The alien trainers were humbled. They had believed that power and skill could control the wild flame, but they had been wrong. Strength could not earn loyalty. Fear could not earn trust. Only patience, respect, and understanding could. A small human boy who could barely lift a staff or swing a whip had shown them the truth. Even the most untamable creature could be guided by kindness. As the sun set over Arcturus Prime, Kieran stood beside the dragon, brushing its warm black scales. The dragon lowered its head gently, letting him rest his hand on its massive snout. They watched the horizon together, two unlikely companions, bound by trust and understanding. The city whispered their story, and the legend of the human boy who tamed the wild flame began. Kieran smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning. He had earned the dragon's trust, but their adventures had just started. The galaxy was wide, full of challenges and dangers, but he and the wild flame would face them together. And for the first time in the dragon's long life, it had a friend it could rely on, someone who asked for nothing but kindness in return. Over the weeks, the bond between Kieran and the wild flame grew stronger. The dragon no longer saw him as small or weak. It trusted him completely, following his soft commands and gentle gestures. Wherever Kieran went, the dragon went. In the arena, on the streets, even outside the floating city, it stayed near him, moving with a grace that amazed everyone who watched. People whispered about the boy who had earned the trust of the galaxy's most feared dragon. Children called him a hero. Merchants told stories about him in every market. The alien trainers, once proud and boastful, now watched silently, learning that patience could accomplish what force never could. One morning, the city's leaders arrived at the arena with a new challenge. A group of space pirates had attacked a nearby starport, stealing cargo and causing destruction. The leaders needed a dragon to stop them, but no trainer had ever succeeded. The wild flame, untamable by any other, could be the city's savior, but only if it would act on Kieran's guidance. The trainers tried to speak, shout, and command, but the dragon ignored them. Then Kieran stepped forward. He looked into the dragon's golden eyes and whispered, "We can help them. Together." The dragon rumbled, nudging him lightly as if agreeing. Kieran climbed onto the dragon's back, checking the soft harness he had made. "We need to be careful," he said. "But we can do this. Are you ready?" The dragon spread its massive wings and roared softly, a sound that was both warning and promise. Kieran held on tight and leaned forward. With a powerful leap, the dragon soared into the sky, leaving the city behind. The air whipped around them and the stars above looked close enough to touch. Kieran felt the dragon's strength beneath him. It was alive in ways he had never imagined, yet it listened to him completely. They reached the starport just as the pirates were about to escape. Ships flew everywhere and explosions lit the sky. Kieran's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. He whispered directions to the dragon, guiding it above the pirates' ships. The dragon's wings created massive gusts that knocked ships off balance, forcing the pirates to slow down. With careful nudges and soft commands, Kieran guided the dragon to grab stolen cargo, push ships away and protect the workers on the ground. Every move had to be precise. One wrong step could cause disaster. But the dragon listened to him, responding to his gentle words with perfect timing. The pirates tried to attack the dragon, firing lasers and missiles, but the wild flame was faster, stronger, and smarter than any of them expected. It dodged the attacks, protected Kieran, and continued to follow his guidance. People on the ground watched in amazement. A human boy, small and simple, was controlling the actions of a dragon stronger than any ship, stronger than any fleet. No one had ever imagined such a thing possible. After hours of careful maneuvering, the dragon and Kieran had driven the pirates away. The stolen cargo was returned, and the starport was safe. The workers cheered. The city leaders praised Kieran. The alien trainers watched silently, realizing that courage, patience, and trust could surpass brute strength and fear. Kieran slid off the dragon's back and patted its massive snout. "We did it," he whispered. The dragon rumbled in agreement, nudging him affectionately. Over the next days, Kieran and the dragon became more than just friends. They became partners. They trained together not for fighting but for understanding. Kieran learned to read the dragon's moods, its desires, and even its small quirks. The dragon learned to anticipate Kieran's needs, following his gestures before he spoke. Together they explored beyond the city, flying over mountains, rivers, and oceans, discovering places the alien trainers had never dared to reach. Every flight strengthened their bond, and every adventure taught them trust, patience, and courage. But not everyone was pleased. Some alien leaders whispered that a human boy should never have such power. Some feared the dragon might become too loyal to him, too dangerous if left uncontrolled. Kieran ignored them. He focused only on the dragon, on keeping it safe, and on proving that kindness could accomplish more than fear ever could. And the dragon, sensing his care, followed without question. One evening, as the sun set over the floating city, Kieran and the wild flame rested on a cliff overlooking the horizon. The dragon lowered its massive head beside him, smoke curling gently from its nostrils. Kieran stroked its scales softly and whispered, "We have done well, my friend. Together we are stronger than any danger." The dragon rumbled, a deep, vibrating sound that was almost like laughter. It had learned that it could trust Kieran completely, that it did not need to fight alone, and that there was power in patience, understanding, and care. From that day on, Kieran was no longer just a stable boy. He was a legend. The boy who tamed the untamable wild flame, who flew through storms, saved starports, and earned the trust of the galaxy's most feared dragon. And the dragon, once feared and alone, had finally found someone who could understand it, guide it, and love it without fear or force. Together they were unstoppable. And for the first time in the dragon's long life, it knew what it meant to belong, to be trusted, and to be loved. And Kieran, the small human boy, knew that he had found the greatest friend he could ever imagine. The news of Kieran and the wild flame spread across the galaxy. People whispered in awe about the human boy who had tamed the untamable dragon. But not everyone was happy. A powerful alien warlord, known for conquering planets and enslaving creatures, heard of the wild flame. He wanted the dragon for himself. He sent a massive fleet to capture it and destroy anyone who stood in his way. The floating city of Arcturus Prime was warned and panic spread. No one believed the small human boy could stop such a threat. But Kieran did not panic. He had his dragon. Together they were stronger than anyone imagined. The warlord's fleet arrived with hundreds of ships, firing lasers and missiles that lit up the sky. Alien warriors landed in the city, armed with powerful weapons. Citizens ran for cover and the alien trainers trembled. Kieran climbed onto the wild flame's back, checking the harness carefully. "We can do this," he whispered. "Stay calm. We will protect everyone." The dragon rumbled, its wings beating powerfully, creating gusts of wind that pushed back the first wave of attackers. Kieran leaned forward, guiding it with soft commands. The dragon listened, turning, diving, and rising with precision. The battle began in full. Ships tried to surround them, but the dragon's speed and strength were unmatched. Kieran shouted softly, "Left! Now!" And the dragon banked sharply, knocking several ships off course. Lasers struck the city below, but the dragon shielded civilians with its massive wings, pushing debris out of the way. The alien warriors tried to attack the dragon with energy nets, but it snapped them like threads of silk. Every move was guided by Kieran's calm voice and gentle hands. The fleet had never faced anything like this. One small human boy was controlling a dragon stronger than all their armies combined. The warlord was furious. He ordered his strongest fighters to attack the dragon directly. Huge ships charged, lasers blazing. The wild flame dove and twisted, avoiding every strike while Kieran whispered encouragement, "Steady, stay with me, we are together." The dragon roared, a sound so loud it shook the air and sent enemy ships tumbling. Kieran leaned closer, patting its neck, speaking softly to keep it calm. The dragon obeyed him completely, trusting his guidance even in the heart of danger. The battle raged for hours. The city below was scared, but Kieran and the wild flame never faltered. They moved as one, a team stronger than fear itself. Citizens began to cheer as they saw the alien fleet retreating. One by one, the warlord's ships were damaged or forced to flee. The wild flame had not destroyed anyone unnecessarily, it had protected, guided, and defended. It was a battle of skill, courage, and trust, not just power. Finally, the warlord himself arrived in a massive flagship. He descended toward the city, ready to take the dragon by force. Kieran and the wild flame faced him together. The warlord laughed, thinking his strength would crush the boy and the dragon. Kieran whispered to the dragon, "We can do this. Stay calm. Follow me." With a sudden burst of speed, the dragon flew at the flagship, dodging every attack. Kieran guided it to push the ship's engines, knocking it off balance. The warlord's fleet fell into chaos. His plans were ruined. The city erupted in cheers. The alien trainers, humbled and astonished, bowed before Kieran. The dragon landed beside him, lowering its massive head, letting him slide off. Kieran patted its snout gently and whispered, "We did it. We saved them. The wild flame rumbled, nudging him affectionately. The city leaders declared Kieran a hero, but he only smiled. He knew the dragon had saved him as much as he had saved the city. Together they had accomplished something impossible. From that day on, Kieran and the wild flame were inseparable. They flew across star systems, helping people, stopping dangers, and showing that courage, patience, and kindness were stronger than fear or force. Citizens of every planet began to tell the story of the human boy who tamed the untamable dragon, teaching that even the smallest and weakest could achieve greatness if they acted with respect and understanding. The alien trainers, once proud and boastful, became Kieran's students, learning that strength without kindness was useless. The dragon, once feared and alone, had finally found someone who understood it completely. And Kieran, once just a small human stable boy, had become a legend across the galaxy, not for his strength but for his heart. As the sun set over the floating city, Kieran and the wild flame rested on a cliff overlooking the horizon. The dragon lowered its head beside him, smoke curling softly from its nostrils. Kieran smiled, brushing its warm black scales. "We are ready for anything," he whispered. The dragon rumbled in agreement, its golden eyes glowing softly in the twilight. They had faced the impossible and together they were unstoppable. The legend of Kieran and the wild flame spread across the stars. A human boy had shown the galaxy that kindness could tame the wildest power. And a dragon had shown that even the strongest heart could be guided by trust and friendship. Together they proved that even the smallest beings could change the fate of worlds. And in the quiet moments high above the cities and stars, Kieran and the wild flame simply enjoyed each other's company, knowing that their greatest adventure had only just begun.